Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for being here again today. So today's video is going to be my first ever book haul because I've been stockpiling while in isolation. But I will say, some of these I got for like $4 on eBay. One of these was just given to me by my mom. Actually, no. 2 of these my mom just gave to me. And then a few of these were cheap and I've gotten months ago. So I'm not only spending my money on books in isolation. Trust me, I bought a Nintendo Switch. So I'm really making perfect purchases during this time. And yeah, I'm just gonna sit down and talk to you about some of the books I'm excited to read and some of the books that I've gotten over the last 3 months. So let's get into it. So the first book that I want to talk about is Stephen King's Pet Sematary. This is a 1984 version of this novel, and I am obsessed with it. I think it is just wonderful. Isn't it insanely cool? Oh my God. I love it so much. I love a good used book. I love that the spine is broken. I love actually that there's tears in it. I think it really adds to like the pet cemetery aspect of it because it's so worn and tattered. I am 60 pages in and it's a little hard to get into only because I have seen both movies, so I know how this goes. So I'm a little nervous because since I know it so well, it's been hard for me to really get into, but I did just get the audiobook. My boyfriend just gifted it to me on Audible, and it is read by Michael C. Hall, who plays Dexter on the show Dexter. So he's gonna read the rest of it to me. I'm going to read it as he reads it to me, because I think that'll be a really fun way to experience this novel. But I'm excited for this because whenever I ask people about Stephen King, like, what's your favorite novel of his? A lot of people say this book because of how much it freaked them out. And I've also heard that this book really gets at grief and suffering in a way that like no other book has, in their opinion. So I'm really excited. I obviously know how this goes, but it's gonna be really fun, especially when I'm reading it to Michael C. Hall's voice. It'll be a trip, and I'm excited for it. Next one, we have one that this was not a purchase. My parents already owned this, and then they just lent it to me, and that is Ready Player One by, who is this? Ernest Cline. I've never read this book. I have seen the movie, but my boyfriend loves this book, and then was kind of disappointed with the movie, and he just says like, the book is phenomenal, you should really read it. And I like that it says, Willy Wonka meets the Matrix. Isn't that a fun synopsis? So I have seen the movie, but I am excited to see how much better the book is because that is what I've heard from multiple people. Even if the movie is cool to them, they still prefer the book, so I'm very excited. The next book is Normal People by Sally Rooney. I have never read a Sally Rooney. This was the first one I ever read. I actually just finished this book like 20 minutes ago. I'm gonna save my opinion on it until my wrap up, but I was very excited to read it because I had seen so many people talking about how good it was, and I saw its rating on Goodreads and I was like, this is gonna be amazing. And you'll have to find out if I agree in my wrap up this month. But yeah, so this is another one. It's set in Ireland with the main woman's name is Marianne, and then the main boy's name or man's name, the main guy's name is Connell. And it's about how their relationship morphs over time. So you're kind of tracking them over a few years and how it goes from like not really knowing each other to like friends with benefits to like hating each other to like just friends, and then just the ups and downs of being close to someone over various years. So I read it and I'll talk more about it at the end of this month. The next 2 books I got are by Andre Aciman. I mentioned in my March wrap up that Andre Aciman has been my favorite author for a while now. I just devour his writing. I think it is exceptional, and no other author has ever gotten to me the way that Andre Aciman has. So I was really excited to buy 2 of his other novels, or these, I guess actually one of them is a compilation of essays, but I specifically wanted certain editions. That's why I purchased these certain editions that I wanted, and they came wrong. And then I returned them and I was like, okay, fine, I'll actually make sure I'm buying the right edition this time. And they came wrong again. So that's annoying. I know for some people, like, who cares what the cover looks like, but I have some of Austen's covers correspond to each other. So like all of his works, it's like color blocked. So like, I think it's the top. The top has a certain color like block on it, and then it has a different photo, but it's like Call Me By Your Name is blue, and then there's a pink version and a yellow version, and so it's like they're all color blocked, and then on a shelf they like all line up, all their colors line up. So I really wanted, since he's my favorite author, I wanted to collect those editions, and they've come to me wrong 2 times. So I'm just gonna deal with it. This is what the universe wants me to have, so this is what I'm rolling with. I got 8 White Nights by Andre Aciman, and then False Papers, which is Essays on Exile and Memory. I don't really know what either one of these are about. This one obviously are Essays on Exile and Memory, and it sounds great and really like a really quick read. This one, I don't know. There's 2 people on a bench in the snow. So I'm gonna say it's like a romance, but a young man goes to a Christmas party in Upper Manhattan where a woman introduces herself with 3 simple words, "I am Clara." I'm gonna assume this is a romance, and now I'm stoked. I was really just buying Aciman's work. I wasn't really paying attention to what they were about because I do want all of his books, and these were just the 2 that I started with, so. Love that, but hate that Amazon sends you the wrong editions of things you ordered. Anyone else? Doesn't often happen to me, but I'm a little pissed. So next, I ordered a few classics. One of them is actually for a book club that I have with some of my grad school friends, and the first book we chose this month was, or not this month, the first book we chose for the club, because we're reading it in sections, is Elizabeth Gaskell's Wives and Daughters. We all had to read North and South for another class that we had, and so we wanted to try another one of Gaskell's books, and so far it's delightful. I'll admit, I did not want to read this. I wanted to read it at first, like when it was first suggested, I was like, yes, totally on board. And then once the date started getting closer and closer to our first like book club meeting, I really didn't want to read it because I was like, I'm in isolation, I'm sad, I'm anxious, I don't want to read something that feels like homework because I had to read a certain section by a certain day, right? And so I really didn't want to, but I finally just worked through the first 20 chapters by an audiobook while I did a puzzle, and it was delightful. It was so good. This is amazing. So I'm glad that it was chosen, and I'm glad that like book clubs are supposed to feel like homework sometimes because you have to read what is being assigned to you, even if it's not like your top choice for what you wanted to read at that time. And it's supposed to bring people together. So even though I didn't want to, I was already gonna do a puzzle, and I was like, Noelle, just get it done. Like, you were totally on board before. It's just because now you have like a due date and you don't want a due date, but just do it. And I did it, and I'm so glad I had. It's so good so far. So the main character's name is Molly, and she is, we're kind of seeing her grow up, and she has an amazing relationship with her father because her mother passed away. And then he meets her future stepmother, and she gets really jealous and really angry, and she doesn't want life to change. So it feels a little bit like Cinderella to me. And then the stepmother comes in, and she is falsely kind, which makes her evil. So that's what we're learning about right now. I've only gotten to chapter 20, which is like that far in. So far, I'm really loving it. Very glad that I pushed myself to finish it, and very glad that I did not choose the first novel so that it had to push me out of my comfort zone. And that's the first one. So the next book I picked up was Jane Austen's Mansfield Park. I should have read this in my Jane Austen class, and again, I thought I read all of them, but I read Northanger Abbey earlier this year and I did not remember anything about it. So I don't think I've actually read this one, but my mom loves this one. The main girl's name is Fanny Price, and that's all I know. That's all I know. I don't know anything else about this book, which I think is why I haven't totally picked it up yet. Because at least with Northanger Abbey, I had kind of a grip on what was gonna happen. And like with Persuasion, if I was gonna read Persuasion right now, I would totally know what it was about. but Mansfield Park, I have no idea. So if you've read Mansfield Park, let me know. I hear that it's either people's like one of their favorites or they think it's like the worst one out of Jane Austen's books. So let me know what you think. I haven't read it yet. I want to start it, but I'm a little overwhelmed. So let me know. So speaking of overwhelmed, the next book I bought was Don Quixote, which is a 1,000-page book. It is technically 2 parts, but I feel like if I'm gonna read it, then I need to read the full thing. I had heard that this is one of the best pieces of fiction to ever exist, and that it has greatly inspired other fantastic novels. And I watched another video. Someone was reading a bunch of books and they were like, yeah, I forced myself to read Don Quixote, and it is my favorite book of all time now. So I'm hoping that when I push myself to do it, it'll actually be wonderful and fantastic. I asked my mom if she's read it and she said no, but it was my mom's favorite. So me and my mom bought our own versions and we're gonna read it in like memory of my grandma, and I'm excited. I hear it's hilarious. I hear it is super adventurous. And from what I understand, it's just like a classic Knight's Tale. But maybe I'm totally wrong. I really don't know. I just hear it's super funny and I'm excited for it. So, all right, this next book is a gift from my mom. She found it at Target for me, and it is by Lisa Jewell, and it's called Watching You. I listened to an audiobook by Lisa Jewell called Then She Was Gone in January, and I loved it. I thought it was so, so good. I can't even tell you what it's about right now. I can. So this is called Watching You. From what I understand, it's about a close-knit neighborhood and one of the neighbors is murdered in their kitchen and you're trying to figure out which, sorry, my brain just broke, which neighbor did it. So I already know that I like Lisa Jewell's writing style, so I might even start this tonight. Because I really devoured the first one and I might devour this one as well. I thought the other one was great and I'm excited for this one, so boom. Next up, we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is the same woman that wrote The Goldfinch, which I read like 4 years ago. And I really liked it, but it was really heavy. It was one of those books that I felt so drained afterwards. I didn't read for a while because it's just like constant pain and anxiety in The Goldfinch. So I don't know how this one's gonna go. I hear that it's a lot of people's favorites. From what I understand, it's like 4 people in college and they're like in a fraternity or a club together and they do something illegal. I'm gonna read the back. Under the influence of their charismatic classics professor, a group of clever, eccentric misfits of an elite New England college discover a way of thinking and living that is a world away from the humdrum existence of their contemporaries. But when they go beyond the boundaries of normal morality, they slip gradually from obsession to corruption and betrayal, and at last, inexorably into evil. So yeah, these grad students, just these students do something evil together. And they're classic students. I don't know. I just hear that everyone loves it. So I'm excited, but a little overwhelmed because of how The Goldfinch made me feel. So if you have read this and you love it, please hype it up so that I can get excited to read this. Because right now, it's been over there for like 3 months. No, 2 months. On my like to be read section, and I'm not interested in reading it right now because I don't need anything super heavy. Think it over, let me know what you think. Speaking of super heavy books, what about A Little Life? I bought this at an airport like 3 or 4 months ago and I started reading it. I got 8 pages in and stopped. It is so long that it's distracting and I hear that it completely wrecks you. So although this is in my haul video, I don't think I'm gonna start it anytime soon because I do not need something to make me more sad. But I have heard it's exceptional, so I do wanna read it. It's just that now is not the time for this one. Okay, all right. And lastly, this one just has a crazy cover and my friend August from grad school told me I should order it and that she loves it so much. And it is The Master and Margarita. Look at that cat. I think the cat is the devil or a demon or something ghoulish. I don't know. I think it takes place in Russia, Soviet Union, sorry. And I don't know anything else about it. I just know that August loves it and I trusted her and I bought it. And I'm excited for it. I just don't really know what to expect. So she really hyped up the cat's roll and that's why I bought the one with the cat on the front. But yeah, I've never really read a Russian classic and I hear that this is a Russian classic. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I don't know. I think it's a classic. I don't know. I just know that there's this evil cat in it. And he's wearing a suit on this cover. So I'm excited to get into it at some point. But yeah, that's the last book on my list. I hope you guys liked this video. I hope that I did justice to the book haul community. I know people love a good book haul and I tried my best. So let me know how I can improve. Let me know what you've bought recently or what you've read recently because I'll always spend more money on books. Money that I shouldn't be spending on books, I'll find a reason and find a way to spend more money on books. So yeah, that's it, you guys. I hope you liked this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.